Good evening. It's 8 o'clock in Banjul. This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Karaba Avenue, and I am Jul Denjai. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. We visited Memory House to find out how one victim-led organization is continuing to tell stories of rights violations, including enforced disappearances that occurred during former President Yahya Jammeh's 22-year rule. And the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, and the Disabled People's Organization commenced a 3-day forum on Thursday on the rights of children with disabilities, among others. As the local government, mayoral and chairmanship elections on the 28th of May approaches, the Media Council of the Gambia, with funding from ECOWAS, on Friday organized a 2-day training in election reporting for journalists. Also on the local government election, aspiring candidates and residents in the Lower River region spoke about their expectations in the region where only the NPP and the UDP are filing candidates. In international news, a reporter visited the world's largest and best preserved ancient palace complex in China, synonymous with the mystery and the beauty of Chinese culture and civilization. Well, those were the headlines, and the news in detail in a moment. If you are just joining us, this is QTV News with me, Jul Denjai. And the TRRC helped expose many rights violations, including enforced disappearances that occurred during former President Yahya Jammeh's 22-year rule. Following the end of the Commission's mandate, one victim-led organization that is on a mission to continue telling stories of rights violations in a form of permanent exhibition is ANACAD. To find out how the organization works and how it provides comfort for families of victims of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances, QTV's Ansumana Esonyasi visited the Memory House in Kanifing, and this is his report.
For over 2 years, the Truth Commission probed human rights violations that occurred during ex-President Jammeh's regime. Over 200 witnesses testified, including victims, perpetrators, and in some cases experts. And after investigating for almost 3 years, the Commission submitted its findings to the President. A few months on, government issued its white paper promising to implement the Commission's recommendations, which includes memorialization and prosecuting those who bear the greatest responsibilities. One of the main themes the Commission investigated was state-sanctioned extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances, carried out by state agents mainly by Jammeh's paramilitary hit squad, the Junglers. With a strong commitment to prevent a recurrence and give voice to victims, the African Network Against Extrajudicial Killings and Enforced Disappearances, ANACAD, was established by Nana Joe Ndao, whose father, Sol Ndao, was forcibly disappeared and allegedly killed under the direct orders of ex-President Jammeh in 2013. Here in the Gambia, her first cousin Sira Ndao is overseeing one of ANACAD's biggest projects, the Memory House. She says the impact of the dictatorship has left many still traumatized.
When the regime of Jammeh ended in 2017, she did more research and around the violation that her father suffered and realized that it is quite rampant globally and in particular in Africa. And impunity for him for enforced disappearance and extrajudicial killings has not been really addressed very well. And so she decided to set up an organization using her pain and obviously using the pain of her and of the family to really use it to impact and make a difference in other people's lives, not wanting other people to suffer the same fate that her family suffered.
This is the Memory House, also known as the House of Conscience. Pictures of victims and their families can be seen on the walls of this quiet, somber house. And the site of artifacts belonging to victims of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances provides the perfect environment for reflection, especially for family members and loved ones of victims. Objects on display here include belts, wallets, uniforms, and boss pass cards of soldiers such as Lieutenant Abdoulaye Dotfal and Jibril Sey, who were brutally murdered by the military junta in November of 1994. A baseball cap belonging to Njaga Jany of the December 30, 2014 incident, and former Finance Minister Usman Koro Ceesay's shirt, his only remaining belonging that his family had to give up to share with the world. And to ensure that these memories remain a permanent sight, ANACAD launched the Duty to Remember and We Are Not Done projects.
We believe that each and every one of us who's left behind has a duty to remember and to preserve these memories for the next generations. Imagine in 100 years' time, none of us will be around, or at least I certainly will not be, I don't expect to be around. And these stories need to be told for the next generations.
ANACED, like other victim-led organizations, continues to uncover new stories of rights violations and has been a leading organization in the country's transitional justice process. They helped in transcribing witness statements for the TRRC, shared research work with local and international partners, and organized several awareness-raising campaigns. However, like other organizations, they also have their challenges. Among other things, they want a permanent center for the memory house. These are not just rooms filled with glass cases holding mementos of the dead and disappeared, surrounded by photographs of grieving relatives taken at the moment they recounted their tragic stories, but a safe space where victims connect with their missing loved ones. Here, at Memory House, they can discover the truth, share grief, heal, find hope and comfort. Answana Sonyasi for KTV News.
And now the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, and the Disabled People's Organization organized a 3-day forum on Thursday to discuss strategies on creating awareness on the rights of children with disabilities, among others. Lena Igonyiba attended, and this is her report.
The forum brings together people with disabilities to highlight the barriers children with disabilities and their families constantly experience, which affect their basic human rights and inclusion in society. The theme for this event is creating inclusive participation for persons with disabilities in all sectors of society. Sharif K. Kani, Principal Education Officer of MOPSI, emphasized the importance of education and skills acquisition as a driver for inclusion for persons with disabilities.
Education opens doors for opportunities that enable disabled people to become productive citizens and have meaningful lives. They need to acquire education that is tailored to their needs, considering their physical limitations. We must invest as a government in vocational training programs that can impact relevant skills to disabled individuals and make them self-sufficient.
The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities says countries must ensure an inclusive education system at all levels and lifelong learning. Lamin K. Fati is the Executive Director of Gambia Federation of the Disabled.
We are making a progress, and I'm so optimistic that the composition of the staff at the special needs unit, it gives me a hope that inclusive education in the Gambia here, it will make a success story, because persons with disability are not left behind.
Amadou Gay, an education officer with MOPSI, highlights society's significant role in combating stigma and discrimination.
Society has a lot to do with regards to accessibility and inclusiveness of persons with disability. We understand there are international laws and frameworks that are supporting the rights of persons with disability. And also nationally, we also understand we have the disability bill that also has been ratified and is been. But there are so many challenges that the society need to do, because there are so many societal misconceptions. The belief that persons with disability cannot do, but obviously they have some potentials in them if supported.
The United Nations recognizes that discrimination against any person on the basis of disability is a violation of the inherent dignity and worth of that person, and has declared that everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms listed in the Declaration of Human Rights without making any distinction. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
That's a great initiative there. Now, as the local government mayoral and chairmanship elections on May 20th approaches, the Media Council of the Gambia, with funding from ECOWAS, commenced a day's training in election reporting for 20 journalists on Friday. Let's have more details of that in this report. The training seeks to empower journalists and news presenters with the skills to contribute to peaceful elections through responsible journalism. Participants are trained on information gathering, commentary, and editorials on election-related issues. Aissatou Keita, Vice President of the Gambia Press Union, spoke of the importance of the training.
This is an important initiative that seeks to equip journalists with the necessary skills and knowledge to report on elections in a fair, accurate, and impartial manner. We are living in a time where the role of the media in promoting democracy and good governance has never been more important. The media plays a crucial role in informing citizens and holding those in power accountable. As we approach the upcoming elections, it is important that journalists are able to report on the electoral process in a professional and ethical manner.
Babukar Cham, chairman of the Media Council of the Gambia, emphasizes the critical role of the media in promoting peace during elections.
During elections, when the media scrutinize the electoral process and inform the general public. We can recall that in the 90s, many African countries, though unprepared for, welcomed multi-party democracy. And since then, elections have become more competitive and in many cases generated tensions and violence.
Salomi Oyunji is the UNDP representative.
The Gambia is at the tail end of the 2021-2023 election cycle, with the mayor and chairperson's election scheduled for 20th May 2023. Issues of ethical, professional conduct, journalistic discipline, and social obligations by media stand critical to this process. The UNDP lauds the Media Council of the Gambia and ECOWAS for organizing this training. This shows the desire by the media to facilitate free, fair, and democratic electioneering and elections through responsible media reporting.
Cloth Kondo, political advisor to the ECOWAS resident representative, highlights the numerous challenges confronting the media.
You may agree with me that the media sector is plagued by some fundamental challenges, including limited technical and professional capacities, marked by the absence of basic skills, ethics, investigative and specialist reports, and new technologies. Comprehensive training activities can address a number of these weaknesses. I therefore urge all participants to take full advantage of the opportunities afforded by the Media Council of the Gambia for enhancing the skills and knowledge of media actors to cover this mayoral and chairmanship elections in a responsible and professional manner.
The Media Council of the Gambia has been tasked with promoting and upholding the highest professional standards in journalism in the Gambia, and also to encourage the media to develop by undertaking activities including training of journalists, overseeing press clubs development, conduct campaigns on press freedom, seminars and workshops, among other activities. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai. The report there will take us to a short commercial break. When we return, we have some more local as well as international news to stay tuned.
The Gambia National Coordinator and Co-Chairperson of the Africa Women Leaders Network, Muna Jallow, is pleased to inform the general public on behalf of the Steering Committee that the Gambia will be launching its national chapter on the 16th of May 2023. The event will take place at the exquisite Coco Ocean Resort and Spa Hotel and would be graced by His Excellency Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. The Africa Women Leaders Network was constituted in 2017 by the African Union and the United Nations, supported by the Federal Republic of Germany and South Africa at the UN General Assembly. The network is an African-wide movement of women for the transformation and development of the continent through women's dynamic engagement and participation in decision-making at all levels of society, in line with the Africa Agenda 2063 and the Global Agenda 2030. 32 countries have launched their national chapter, and the Gambia is proud to be the 33rd. The event will be attended by a high-level delegation led by the AU Special Envoy and dignitaries from around the world. Together, we can create a brighter future for women in the Gambia and across the African continent.
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mun a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun Inco fii leen day jëndee suñu bagage yi Inco dañ yombalee bagage yi dañ over baax quality bagage dañ lay jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boo ko ji Inco fii leen day ñëw Brikama moom ñu jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci distance Serekunda fii waaye fii leen day ñëwee bagage dina bagage lu waral loolu Inco dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ over baax dañ over quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër
parce que Inco mo fene la bagage so quality la garantie bi la bagage so bagage nya san nimi satije mi ta fengo min na Inco ma soto janga man Gambia janga ma soto folo den nga ñoo ma koy akole na nya wonyandi mbe nga wuli nga na Inco nga bagage so san
seet si leen ñu si suñu maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jinpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Brikama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice.
Welcome back. If you are just tuning in, this is QTV News. Also, ahead of the local government election, aspiring candidates and residents in Lower River region spoke about their expectations in a region where only the NPP and UDP are filing their candidates. Our regional correspondent Bakari Balde tells us more.
Election time. During campaign period, politicians often make many promises, some of which are never fulfilled. In LRR, the electorate are anticipating development projects, better service delivery to improve their lives. Ali Jallo from Sarisajo village in Kian Central said people should put aside tribal politics and elect individuals who are development-oriented. Fatou Ba, students from Soma Senior Secondary School, pleaded for support.
Provide scholarship for students to further their education, and to provide textbook for students to cover their syllabus and to have more knowledge on the topic that they want to do it. And also to provide school bus for students because the distance to go to schools is so far. And the other thing is the tap issue. Because some people move from a far distance to go and fetch water, and then that won't take too much of time. So I will plead them to provide more taps for communities.
Neifatu Sise, the proprietor of Kerjegji in Jarasoma, said the next elected chairman should promote youth and women's entrepreneurship.
We urge them to empower women and youths because that is important. It is the youths that can steer the affairs of the country. If the women and the youths relax, nothing will work. And we are the ones who can develop our country.
Local governments are responsible for a range of vital services for people and businesses. Both the incumbent Landing Bisane and his main opponent Kebadem promised to deliver the most needed services to the people of Lower River region if elected.
We will concentrate on women and youth development. And when I said so, I mean we are going to go operate in multiple areas, a lot of other areas that will include agricultural development, climate change and environmental protection, skills training and entrepreneurship, and a host of others that will support youth.
The assessment team will be sent across the region to ask people what their needs are. So when we combine them or when we put them together, we assess them and prioritize. So, but then this could vary. Gardens are there. I mentioned that. I know that that's a problem in the area. Garden, potable water. You understand what I mean? And even entrepreneurship, because that's my area. That's also my intention to build the capacity of youth and women.
Politicians have made their promises and the residents highlighted their development needs. It is now a matter of time before the people of LRR will find out whether promises made by whoever is the winner will be promises kept or broken. For QTV News, I am Bakari Balde.
That report by Bakari Balde takes us to international news. Now, an ancient architectural masterpiece of several, mainly wooden structures which served as the home for China's emperors, has endured for more than 500 years. Today, it stands as the world's largest and best preserved palace complex, synonymous with mystery and the beauty of Chinese culture and civilization. QTV's Mamadou Lamin Choi visited the ancient palace and filed in this report from Beijing.
In Beijing, thousands of tourists queue up daily for a glimpse of Imperial China going back more than 600 years ago. While referred to as the Forbidden City and now officially called the Palace Museum, it is one of the most popular tourist attractions in China and globally. This is because of its stunning historical treasure and architectural marvel that have long been shrouded in mystery for centuries.
This is the biggest ancient wooden complex on earth. For over 500 years, it has served as a political seat of power for 24 Chinese emperors who have lived and reigned over China until the 20th century. Today, what was a forbidden territory for many ordinary people is now open to the world as a palace museum to discover its historical treasure.
Located in the center of Beijing, the ancient palace covers 720,000 square meters, which is more than 100 football fields. The history of the Forbidden City began in 1406 when the third Chinese emperor of the Ming Dynasty, Shu Di, embarked on one of the world's largest construction projects to build a royal palace. It took the labor and skills of more than 1 million workers, including craftsmen, to build the palace over a span of 14 years. In ancient China, emperors were believed to be the sons of heaven who served as the link between the world and the celestial, or heavenly. So, the number of rooms in the Forbidden City was inspired by the belief that the supreme deity lived in a 10,000-room palace on the pole star, while on the other hand, and to avoid outdoing his Father of Heaven, the Chinese emperor needed a 9,999-room palace. The emperors claimed that their powers were given by heaven and controlled the country in accordance with heaven's will. Since it became the home of Chinese emperors up until the end of the Ming Dynasty in the early 20th century, the Chinese imperial palace was a forbidden territory for ordinary subjects of the emperor, which is why it was named the Forbidden City. This royal palace ceased to be China's political seat of power when in 1911 Puyi, the 11th Chinese emperor of the Ming Dynasty, was overthrown, marking the end of imperial rule in the country. Though he was overthrown, Puyi was allowed to stay in the Forbidden City until 1924, when he was driven out. The following year, what was a Forbidden City was turned into a palace museum to unveil its compelling mysteries. In 1987, the Palace Museum was listed by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. Today, more than 1 million precious artifacts used by Chinese royal family during the Qing and Ming dynasties are in the museum. As a repository of such a rich historical and cultural heritage, the Forbidden City received more than 19 million visitors in 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic. After the lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, in January 2023, at least 22,000 tourists daily were recorded in the Palace Museum, a rebound to pre-pandemic levels. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News, Beijing.
Interesting story there. Also in international news, Ethiopia has the highest rate of premature births in Africa, followed by the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa and Ivory Coast, according to a new report by UN agencies. Let's have more details of that in this report. This is what emerges from a new joint report published by the World Health Organization, WHO, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, and the Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health, according to which preterm birth is now the leading cause of infant deaths globally, accounting for more than 1 in 5 infant deaths occurring before their 5th birthday. According to the report, of every 10 babies born globally, 1 is premature, and every 40 seconds, 1 of those babies dies. This is confirmed by the updated estimates by WHO and UNICEF, collaborated by the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine on how widespread preterm births are. The report also suggests that preterm birth rates have not changed in any region of the world over the past decade, with at least 152 million babies born too soon from 2010 to 2020. Southern Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa have the highest rates of preterm birth, and preterm babies in these regions face the highest mortality risks. Together, these two regions account for more than 65% of preterm births globally. Ethiopia is one of the largest and most complex in Africa. Over the last decade, Ethiopia has made tremendous development gains in education, health, food security, and economic growth. The addition of 38,000 health extension workers has helped reduce the under 5 child mortality rate by more than 6% a year since 2000. Despite this, Ethiopia remains one of the poorest countries in the world, with an estimated annual per capita income of $790. Approximately 1.8 million Ethiopians are internally displaced due to conflict and climate shocks, and more than 1 million Ethiopians who have returned to their prior areas of residence need humanitarian assistance, according to the 2020 Humanitarian Response Plan. Such data is likely to ensure the country continues to have a major problem with preterm births. This new report has also caused alarm in America, as the report shows its rate of 1 in 12 babies being born prematurely is more than double the rate in most European countries. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai. That's an alarming report there. Well, I'm afraid that's all we got time for. Do join us tomorrow for the weekend review with Momodu Mboch and, of course, Ade Drame. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company, and do have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.